Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. I've been up now maybe 1/2 hour, and I feel a little concerned. I don't know. Yesterday I had a nice afternoon in Central Park. I went by myself, and I went to this location that I've been to a couple of times. It's a really nice tree, big tree. And I was just relaxing in the sun. It was really nice. And then I needed to get back home so I could walk my dogs. But I noticed when I was walking back home, I started to get negative thoughts. Guarded, very, very guarded. And I thought it was a really weird thing. And then I remember hearing before that, not all your thoughts are yours. And sometimes things out there are what's communicating with you, to you, and making you think your thoughts are yours. So I just rebuked it. I said, I don't need these negative thoughts. Get away. But I see a sensitivity that I have. And I did do some meditation before I went to bed, and I felt good. And upon waking up, my mind is thinking about things that's going on in the world. And to me, it's really problematic. It's like that pink elephant in the room. It's there, but no one is saying anything. So I feel for me, I need to speak up. Speak up about the pink elephant in the room. Well, what I feel for today, what's on my mind? Well, I'm thinking about this video. It was something on the news, and they uploaded it to YouTube. I did this video pertaining to this video and other stuff about albinos in Africa and how they're being hunted down and murdered. I thought it was horrific. But my mind is still on it. And it was other things that I was thinking that preceded this thing, this reminding of the albinos in Africa. It was about the royal family. And I think I'll discuss them too in this audio. Well, there was this video of this woman who, it was about the killings of the albinos. And this one particular albino allegedly, so I have to say allegedly, but allegedly, oh, wait a minute, I think they did know, He murders his brother, his albino brother, for $200-something. And the murderer skips town. And the authorities of that country, the country in Africa is Tanzania. And the wife, and I think they have a kid also. But the wife, again, this was like a news clip from their television news people. And it's a very poor woman whose dwelling place, one would characterize as a poor person. Now, the murderer, her husband, killed the brother, chopped up his body, and sold the albino pieces to like a witch doctor. It said that albino parts, body parts, supposed to give you good luck. Now, isn't that selfish, people? You want good luck, so you kill somebody so you can have good luck. It's so selfish. But what I wanted to talk about was this woman that's being interviewed is being questioned by the authorities of that country. And as she's being interviewed, like they had like a voiceover, because she doesn't speak English. She's speaking her native tongue, and a voiceover is interpreting what's being said. And what she said was something to the like, she swears on so-and-so's life. I forget whether it was her life or her children or something. It was just really out there. And I remember reading in the Bible, in the New Testament, and that Jesus had quoted as saying, "Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything more than that is evil." That's immediately what I thought when she said, "I swear on." Okay. See, when people swear like that, or people say, "Oh, I swear on my grandmother's grave," when I was a young child in elementary school, I would hear that all the time. "I swear it on my grandma's grave," blah, blah, blah. And the girl was a known liar. Okay. And I also remember a man, he was an Orthodox Jew, and he's talking to another Jewish person. Maybe he wasn't Orthodox. I mean, I don't know anyone of Orthodox, but he was a Jewish man. And I overhear him saying, "I swear it on my children's grave, or my children's life." No, maybe it's my children's life, blah, 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 blah. And I'm listening to him, and I'm irritated what he's saying. I mean, I can't help but hear. He's right next to me. And the person he's telling this to got upset too. He said, "I wish you stop it. Stop talking like that. You don't swear on their grave," or something like that. He too, he had common sense. It's not right. It's not appropriate. And why do you have to qualify what you say by that? So these thoughts were going through my mind when I heard the woman say this type of swearing. And she swore that she had nothing to do with the murder. And listening to her, I don't know the woman. I never spoke to the woman. And I'm just listening to the television news that was uploaded on YouTube. I don't believe the woman. And you know what else? When they were filming in her home, and again, it was reminding me of things that really upset me. The camera panned, like it was showing the woman, but then it was zooming, kind of pointing towards the wall. And as she was saying, "I swear," there was a picture of what they call Jesus, a white Jesus, blonde and blue-eyed European Jesus. And that also was a clincher to me that this is a lying, what I felt, that this was a lying individual. Now, why did the camera pan and move to the direction of the and focus on the picture on the wall of this Jesus? Well, I'll tell you what I think, my opinion. My opinion that they showed that to try to make the woman look that she's spiritual and that she has to be telling the truth because she has that picture of a white Jesus on the wall. And I thought to myself, how pathetic. How pathetic for an African country called Tanzania would put a European-looking Jesus on their wall. That is part of the problem. That is a major part of the problem why they are killing the albinos. They see that white Jesus, and anything white is good because this is a black nation and they don't like their black skin, so they're going to worship this white Jesus on the wall. And then when they see their fellow Tanzanian African skin being white or turned white, oh, gotta be a good sign. Well, I want that goodness too in my life. They might be saying to themselves, let me cut up the pieces and use it for magic to benefit my life. So it seems like they're equating whiteness as being good, just like that white Jesus on the wall being good. They don't like themselves, and they have a poor mindset. And to do this to your neighbor, to your family. And I think that they wanted to try to get this other guy, this other family member. I think what happened, there was someone else in question. They ran away, the albino. Because I think it was more than one albino. But at least in the story, they interview other albinos. And this one particular albino man ran away in hiding because he thought he was going to be next. How horrific. How horrific. And then I said to myself that this, I wonder whether if this is what happened in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s in Africa, where family members were selling family members into slavery. Why not? You get money, or you get trinkets, or you get what they call the cowrie shells, right? Cowrie shell, their mindset is so enlightened. So enlightened. Bad business people. Wow. They give away these individuals, I should say, these individuals who do this practice, sell their people, whether dead or alive, and sell them for trinkets. You're selling your precious commodity. You don't know how to build. You need to learn how to build a nation. And you don't build a nation by killing and selling the body parts of your brother. You will stay in poverty. But yeah, I was thinking about the slavery thing. This is like modern day slavery, what modern day slavery looks like. And I also wonder, why is there so much albinism there in southern Africa? It's genetic. But I'm wondering whether they were tweaking the genes. See, I don't know much about Tanzania. I've heard of the name of the country before, and I believe it was a colony, of a European colony. And I think the scientists went in there and tweaked the genes of some of the people in their experiments. See, we know, like with Nazi Germany, they were tweaking with genes. They were messing around with genetics and into the sciences and stuff. And that they were doing possibly experiments on these black people, how to perfect their race. Like there are people who marry, just hear me out. There are people who marry white people or very light-skinned people, as in their words, to improve the race. Hear that? Improving the race to them is their external appearance. And I hear of things like this in the Americas because they were exposed to slavery, the transatlantic slave trade. And you had the Europeans who were traumatizing these Africans. So any relief of what they believed to be, to help them come out of their persecutions, to look like them. Rather than saying, how do I destroy my enemies? How do I remove them from my existence? I think would be a better solution, a better approach. But to modify what you look like while these crazy people who were kidnapping and destroying you and your country or tribe. Seeing the white Jesus on the wall is a big part of their mind being manipulated, a witchery over and a seduction over the people of this country and other African countries who have this same, it's the same type of Jesus. I've seen this drawing of this European-looking Jesus. I hate when I see it. There's something about it. Very girly, almost looking, feminine. And they have the same mindset, this mindset of, I'm not worthy, Jesus is better, he's superior. But you notice the countries, the people who embrace this Jesus, this European Jesus, are always in poverty. Shouldn't that be telling you something, people, about this white Jesus, this white man on the wall? It should be telling you something, but you fail to see. You're not seeing with your true eyes what's going on. You're being witched over and are being deceived. And you're actually killing yourself so that you could look more like him. Not to act like him, but to just look like him. Why do you want to look like people like that? Why? What's wrong with you, Native man and woman? The indigenous people of this planet. Why would you want to look like them? Act like them? You're being witched over. Bewitched, that's the word, bewitched. And are actually harming yourself. See, you don't even need white people there, living there. You just have that dumb Jesus painting on the wall that's looking over you and keeping you in check, making you feel guilty about your bodies, and completely controlling your psyche. The character Jesus in the Bible would never agree to the killing of anybody. So you have the Jesus on the wall, but you don't practice humanity. The character Jesus of the Bible was a man of compassion and love, and you don't have any. You don't have any because you're worshiping the white man on the wall. When you worship the white man on the wall, it is antagonistic to the indigenous people of this planet. So, I then started thinking about the upcoming wedding of Meghan Markle, the American actress who is engaged to Prince Harry of England. It's less than a month away. And I was watching again another video. There were several things. Now, there was this, it was actually on Queen Elizabeth's birthday that just passed. It was on Saturday. She turned 92. And it was also the day when they, I'm not sure of the terminology, but the Commonwealth nations of Britain voted to, when Queen Elizabeth is no longer queen, that Prince Charles, her son, will be the successor and become king of the Commonwealth, head of the Commonwealth, and head of Britain, the king of Britain. And it was the first time I heard that there were 53, if I heard right, about 53 Commonwealth nations of Britain. I said to myself, wow, 53. 53. And I want to do a list, find a list of all those nations that they control. And, you know, even though the U.S. is not a commonwealth, but I think that Britain has control over the United States. Even though it's a large country, but I think Britain actually controls the U.S. But I started thinking, wow, 53 nations controlled by an island nation. It was a relatively small place in comparison to who they captured as a Commonwealth nations. And I said, many of these nations are people of color. Yep. And then you look at their parliament, and they're predominantly all white men. Then you look at the royal family itself, all white. Now I'm thinking you have a Commonwealth of nations, and most of these nations are black, brown, and yellow in color. But yet, not all things being equal, if you have 53 Commonwealth nations, 53, and you're a small island, and to have that control, and if everybody's equal, wouldn't it reflect in their government? Who's there? Who works in there? You know, if everything's being recycled and, you know, everything blending in, if you really represent those Commonwealth nations, if they're really a part of your society, you know what I'm saying? Wouldn't they have more representation in Britain? But you don't see it. And this angers me. And the upcoming wedding of Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, well, I think, see, it's timing. And I've mentioned this before, everything it's not by accident. Nothing that you see is by accident. And so what I see, okay, there was also like I mentioned, it was the Queen Elizabeth's birthday, and then who's going to run the Commonwealth once she passes on. Now, I'm sorry, I'm losing train of thought. But you have that. Now, what's going on now? Why aren't these people being represented? I remember what I was going to say. Prince Harry was given the position, almost like an ambassador, almost. There's an organization about the youth. It was some youth summit of the Commonwealth nations, the 53 Commonwealth nations. Okay. So now Prince Harry is 53. Wasn't Prince Charles also in his 30s when he was to get married for the first time? But they didn't have him head any youth council, whatever, representing the 53 Commonwealths. They said that of those Commonwealth nations, that, what was that, 40-something% of them are youth. Okay. Now remember also a couple of years back in what they call the Arab world, what they call the Arab Spring. What was happening there with the Arab Spring? Well, you had young people, there are a lot of young people in the Arab world, and they were revolting. And so they had to be put in check. Well, what I believe what's happening is that Britain, they're clever. It's a clever nation. They're clever people. They know that, like the Arab Spring, it could be a Commonwealth Spring happening. And they're afraid of that. The Commonwealth of Great Britain could revolt. You have a bunch of poor people, poor youth, and they could rebel and pull down the British throne. It's commonwealths. They can overthrow it. It's too many. 53 nations. 53. Count them. These youth could topple over their whole structure. They don't realize the power they have. They don't need a Jesus on the wall. They need strategy, the Commonwealth nations, to get together and say enough is enough. We don't want your European Jesus and poverty. See, these Commonwealth nations get poorer and poorer, while Britain gets richer and richer. There's a reason why Harry is given that position as a representative, like a liaison, between the youth of the British Commonwealth nations, along with the future wife of Prince Harry, which is Meghan Markle. And the two are probably going to visit these Commonwealth nations to put the youth at ease so they won't rebel. Well, people, the Commonwealths of Great Britain, you don't realize the power you hold as a Commonwealth collective. You need to think smart. Do you want to be a Commonwealth and be a walking slave of Britain? Do you want to be bewitched by the upcoming wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? I believe their presence, I'm sure that they mean well. I believe that the couple mean well. And I wish no harm on them. But I believe they're being used to bewitch you, Commonwealth nations of Great Britain. You guys are being bewitched. And you don't realize the power you really have as a collective to break the system of Commonwealth and to really govern yourself and to reap the wealth of your own personal labor, rather than the wealth of your labor to go to that nation, Great Britain. You have the power in your hands to say, no, enough is enough. Just look at the people from the Commonwealth nations who moved to Great Britain on the island. They're in poverty. Remember about a year or so ago, it was that big fire in that high-rise apartment complex. Who lives in that building? These are people from the Commonwealth nations who live there and forgotten. There were complaints about the place. Rather than doing the correct job to repair, they didn't do it. They use inferior material for this particular repair. And that's what caused the amount of deaths in that place. Do you think the Queen of England uses inferior products in her home? Her palace was on fire. It was some building, and it was on fire. And I think they said the damage was worth $50 million. Did she use her own money? No, she did not. She's using the taxpayers' money. She didn't use her own personal wealth to repair her own personal fire. Get that? She didn't use her own money. She's, I believe, one of the richest women and person in the world. She has tons and tons and tons of resources, but she failed to use her own resources to repair her own home. Okay, so it shows what she is all about, what the crown is all about. It's about themselves and about the subjects to support their need and to leech from you, to take from you, and leave you the carcass of survival. And so that's why it was easy for them to do that to you in that apartment building that burned down, that killed about maybe 70 people. What I'm saying, folks, Commonwealth Nation, is that they don't love you. They don't love you. They can't love you because everything about the crown is about their blood. If you're not of their blood, then you're a parasite to them. You don't need them. You don't need them. Learn how to tap into your own resources. Protect what's indigenously yours. They are the foreigner. And stop worshiping the foreigner and start respecting the indigenous people of your own personal land and reap the wealth from your own land and nation. Stop being bewitched by these parasite rulers. The power is in your hand to overthrow their oppression over you. And when you do that, you will no longer need to put up a white European Jesus on the wall, and you will no longer need to chop up the body of your black albino brother and sister. They both go hand in hand. You're being taught to hate yourself. That's why you're doing that. That's why you're selling each other, because you are bewitched. Get on your hands and knees and pray for forgiveness from your higher self and from the originator/creator. And ask to be spiritual uplifted and create a brand new paradise where you live. I wish you all peace and blessings, and that you see through this false matrix of lies that are keeping you in bondage. I thank you for listening. Bye-bye.